Alright, let's take a look at how to make the connection between the front tires and the wagon's body. To make this piece, I'm going to start by making a simple plane, and then I'm going to snap it in the middle, so right in the middle of the shaft here. From there I'm going to move it to the left, which would be right in the center. And now let's set up width and height. So height is this way. Now about the width, let's give it a little bit more. And how much, I'm going to hit 4 because I can see how far it's going. Pull this a little bit up, hit 5, and that should be good enough width. I'm going to change the subdivision in width to 40 and change height subdivision to 2 by keeping a center line there. And now let's see how are we going to use deformer to create that shape. To create a deformer, you select any object where you wanted to apply deformer, then go into the deformer tab, then non-linear flare. These are all deformers. I'm going to be using first two, where you can use any other in the similar way. Alright, so I got that, and this is the deformer, flare deformer, which I'm going to rotate to line up against my plane. So, and isolate select, so it's easier to work with. Alright, now select that flare and turn on the wireframe as well. So selecting that flare, and inside the input of the deformer, I'm going to be picking here curvature. See, when I change that curvature from 0 to almost like 3, you can see what kind of shape it's making, and that's exactly the shape I'm wanting to go for. Now I'll select it. Now I want to keep that shape, but if I want to keep it, I need to delete history. That would remove this deformer, would keep this shape. So now next is to create this arch. Now to create an arch, select it and then go into the same option, deform non-linear bend. Now by default all deformers comes like vertical, but we're gonna rotate this one horizontal as well. But before that, give some curvature so you know what direction you want it to rotate. I wanted to rotate this into this direction, and I'm gonna put in rotate z minus 90. Here we go. Now keep going with the curvature till it's hitting that shaft. Edit, delete by type, history. Alright, all that is done. Now next thing is flat out this area where there's a contact between the upper and lower pieces. So I'm going to go into edge mode, hold control, hit delete. So to blend in, select these two and hit bevel, and then in a bevel give a little bit more of the friction and give segments to 4. So that's a nice blend going from the curvature to the flat surface. Delete by type, history. Now before we pull, we're going to add back those edges. So I'm going to go into multi-cut and make sure edge flow is off. One I'm going to add right here in the center, one over here, and let's add one closer to the corners here. Now although it's a flat area, why I'm adding that many edges there? That's because I know what I'm going to be creating next. The next, I wanted to pull this area out, and this area at the end having this semicircle, and that's why I need to have a bunch of edges here so I can get that in the end. So I'm going to grab my edge from here to all the way here, and now I'm going to extrude this and pull this up straight, and we're going to pull this all the way to like how far we want it to. After unisolating, I'm going to go into right view and see how far I want this final edge to be. So based on the image, it feels like it goes up to here, so I'll keep it there. And now look at the image, so that's how I can estimate how far it's gonna go. So I'm gonna grab this edge loop and I'm gonna move it a little bit in the middle as well. So now let's bevel that right away. So select that and bevel, and now expand this fraction to a little bit more up to here and give some segments so it has automatically that nice curvature of coming in forward. Now how do we get the circular shape? So I'm going to grab all these pieces and I'm going to click on circleize, and that's going to be edit mesh, and we have circleize here. And when you circleize, it gives you this circle, and I'm going to use the twist to line this back to where they were before. So here we go, and hit delete. That leaves us the perfect semicircle right there for us to use for later on. Now that's all in this video. In next we will finish this model off by extruding the edges down.